live stream you're talking about with X and something about Avex?
Yeah, so Avex has like its own like social fi thing called the Arena, and it used to be Stars Arena, and then it got exploited. Somebody bought it out. They now allow for streaming, similar to Abstract. So usually with Abstract, I can only stream direct to Abstract, and if I'm coming straight from my studio, not going to like a service, because of the way it's set up. With X and the Arena, I could stream to X and then still stream to the Arena because I'm using basically my streaming device as a webcam instead of having to send a stream from it. So now I can send two streams. So just this first time I'm trying it for the hangout. We'll see if there's any AVAX homies that enjoy it.
Yeah, nice. Could be some crossover there.
Yeah, I thought about
Hey, I
doing it
see.
for Abstract, but it's not I don't know if Abstract would, like, if I had to choose between Abstract and Twitter, Twitter makes more sense.
Right. I saw LEV or Lev here in the house, and shout out. I saw you today being very helpful in the general chat. I believe someone was asking about the AM tokens and where they could do a swap or something like that. And Lev gave a shout out for, I believe he suggested DeFi Llama. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lev, but I thought that was pretty cool to see. Friends helping friends out there.
For
Good. We
AMW
could.
though, for WETH, you can get it directly on Aave. You don't have to swap for anything. I can see he's asking about AM WETH, but it's an AM token on Aave V2 on Polygon. I mean, it should be there. It'd be news to me if they didn't support AM WETH anymore on Aave. But the OTC is for MA tokens, not AM tokens. Hey guys, who's AM WETH?
Yo.
Yeah, that's news
Yeah,
to me if they're
you're
not
coming in pretty
supporting that.
clear.
Yeah. So
Oh, trying
yeah,
with the love for AVAX or Avalanche. There isn't that the logo? Hey guys, I'm gonna drop in the link. I think everybody here has been in the Gotchiverse before on GV3D, the 3D one. But if you're in there right now, I am vibing in District 1, and it's got a different vibe today. Some of you might have seen in the chat, but yeah, there's been some creatives here in the community, namely Just Benjamin, and he was playing with Suno or whatever. He's making music, and so I love seeing people just step up and make cool stuff and have fun with the gotchi vibes. So we immediately like put that in with the team as a ticket, and within basically a couple hours, it got swapped out our main theme song, and now the whole Gotchiverse is playing Just Benjamin's track. The based Gotchi Knots track, to be specific. It's a good vibe. So if you guys want to hop in the verse, that's where I'm at, and it's bumping. Yes, it is a vibe.
I'm trying to load it here. My internet in this apartment is very, very slow. Literally 1 megabyte per second, so it's taking a while, but I'll be there soon.
I'm holding the tab key to see players. I see Transistor just joined. See if we can find each other here in the vastness of District 1. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I was telling him, like, he's making a bunch of tracks now, and this is the kind of community like UGC we can start with. It's really easy for us.
Wait, so is our land fully farmable in 3D? Because I just went to 3D, and I mean, I haven't gone for a while, but being able to see that my land popped up, is it? Can we visit our parcels
Yeah,
already?
Goldcross, are you able to someone could do a screen share here, let people see it is actually, everything is farmable now. Gotchiverse 3D is like fully functional in terms of build mode and upgrading installations, claiming Alchemica and all that.
Yeah, indeed. And it's not only kind of got everything you need, but a little bit more, right? Technically, it's got the empty all button that has been requested
Yep.
probably for years. So you're able to get that. Yeah, they love staying it. Such a relief, exactly. It's basically a power user feature we've been wanting to do, and got it done. I would say well worth the lift. Oh, I see somebody. I think it might be No Future because I see his stream. I'm near the Great Portal.
I'm with T-Bird now.
Oh, T-Bird. Hell yeah.
How do we fly? Maybe I'm just pressing. I'm trying to use my
so
controller.
so the flying has been replaced with jumping. You can do like a double jump. If you hit the space bar twice, you can get some hops. And R for your radial. Yeah, if you haven't been in the verse for a bit, you got all your animations and with the R button. And there's a bunch of hidden hotkeys throughout. So yeah, good to see you, T-Bird. Let me see if I can use the chat bubbles. There it is. And I'm gonna make sure to follow him with the F key. So he is now, there it is. He's now my friend. Our player profiles are connected. And T-Bird just followed me. No, I'll come follow you too. Oh, I'm giving Nofu the red flag emoji by accident. I'm just pressing buttons, sir.
Okay, there we go. So F.
Have you
now
heard?
we-
Have you heard this? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So now, yeah, we're following each other. But yeah, I like Just Benjamin's track, and that's an open invitation to anybody else. I know we got a lot of creatives, a lot of musicians out here. Send your MP3s in, and we'll fill them in the dance hall, or in this case, we just put it on we replaced the Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox creators theme song with Just Benjamin. So that's a pretty heavy honor. But yeah, we'll just switch that guy out, put Just Benjamin in. It bumps.
How's your week gone, No Future? Been do anything crazy out there in crypto Twitter?
Yeah, I mean it's been a good week. I was farming a little bit of the Kaido Yaps because there's a couple of TGEs that are happening, and then I don't know. I've been trying to stay out of the whole mess of what's happening on base, like the bases for everyone, and then bases for pimping, and bases for squirting, and all these other things. And it's like, there's ETH OS, which is like a credibility protocol. I haven't
Yeah,
played around with it yet because I haven't gotten an invite, but he took a hit in terms of his like rating,
really.
his credentials. Jesse, there was like I think a proposal to slash him. Like I don't even know what that means, but I think to knock him down a bit, and it got rejected. So he's been, he's been making noise on the timeline, Jesse. A little bases for everyone, but and tokenize everything. But that's been interesting to watch this week.
Yeah, I think it's like it's very nuanced exactly like what they're trying to do here. And it doesn't feel particularly new. Like Zora came out with this feature at least 6 months ago, I think, right? Like it's a you own the NFT and like and it creates an LP pool for the ERC20 tokens as well. But it seems like they're just trying to kind of try to promote it a little bit more. And I don't know. I think it's an interesting like feature. I was looking at one guy. He created a tweet. It was like a meme, and he made $60 so far in trading volume, like in trading fees. The creator. So I was like, that's kind of cool. It had done 20K in volume, and he made $60 on on the meme that was tokenized. But it's also like just we're opening the floodgates here for every single piece of content now is something that people can trade and speculate on. But isn't that what everyone always said with Ethereum? Like, tokenize everything. Isn't that what people were saying all through
but not like that.
the last bull and bear market? That was the thesis. Everything is going to be tokenized. Tokens are eating the world. And then when base guys actually do it, they're like, no, don't do it like that. It's like, well, how did you expect people to tokenize everything?
Yeah, see there
Yeah.
was like art run before, which had like stuff from Zora, if I'm not mistaken, on it. So I was trading, videos of Jesse's wet socks and making money, like money, crazy money during December, I think. I think it was December. So to see it resurge like is cool, but I feel like when they say tokenize everything, they're talking like, real stuff, not your like, your wet socks videos, but like, the stock market. And we had Kraken
Everything's
announce that
everything, bro.
some I guess
Everything's everything.
yeah, everything is everything. But do you need to like tokenize your lunch, like a picture of your lunch? We're already doing that on social media. It just seems like adding speculation to that is weird. If it's a collectible, I get it. Like, oh yeah, we're collecting it, but
Imagine a lunch reveal. Let's see. You take your lunch to school. It's like, all right, guys, lunch unboxing. You've bought the token. Now we're gonna do the reveal. It's gonna pump or dump based on what's in there. I mean,
see
it's
that
not a. There's no real. There's no burning need or desire for this, but it's just a use case that crypto now has, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent to it. I think it's like how it's used. I mean, Pump Fund was tokenizing everything. Any news, any headline. I guess part of the issue is the meta for that is kind of past. So it feels like late to the party and uh, like kind of like it's almost like trading micro penny stocks. Like you're saying, no fu, if there's no value or extremely little, is it even worth tokenizing? Like, what are we doing? Um, so it is kind of
you need something to speculate on though. So like
if that's all we can afford is like, sifting
Right.
pennies around on people's lunch boxes. So yeah, it's there's really nothing else to talk about, right? So for better or worse, bases in the news as we can get ready for our big migration. So yeah, that goes. What I kind of think is for Aavegotchi, we can fit in and say, hey, look, we actually have a mature, robust ecosystem here that's going to bring something that like all the different, no disrespect to the different meme groups, and I don't know everything about every one of them, but I do feel like we have a lot to offer in terms of the DAO, the on-chain aspects of our NFTs, the wearables, the interoperability, and the gaming ecosystem. So there's that. Like
Yeah.
we have plenty to talk about as we come in there and offer the people at base something else to consider and think about.
see, I was thinking about the campaign yesterday, the basis for everyone. And it's like, when people start calling out bases for pimping, bases for squirting, it's like how could you respond as Aavegotchi? And the first thing that came to my mind, it's not appropriate, is that we have a geisha wearable. So I would like
Yeah.
just quote tweet it with the geisha wearable and see how people react to it. But that's probably going to anger some people. Can't win them all. Who was that, Jesse? That looked like a different Gotchi that was next to you.
Yeah, it says Dishy, and he was just on fire. He was using one of the potions, one of the pickups. So yeah, I think that might be part of it, but I don't know where he went. I think he just disappeared. Like I started doing the hands up dance right in front of him. Probably scared him. It's a ghost dancing. Dishy lagged out. Here, if you go to settings, you can do different like graphics levels, just like SFA. So it might help a little bit.
Oh,
We're
it
on the
definitely.
Euro server.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I switched to I'm on the low version because I have like 10 different things running on this computer right now and it's running perfectly fine. Where I put it to medium, the computer started to struggle. But it's because we're, like in a Discord, I'm streaming to two different places. I'm just asking my computer to do a lot right now. But my gotchi's able to dance, so that's good. This little
yeah.
Nagi gotchi I
Uh,
bought off the market.
you guys want to go find the art gallery really quick and see? Since you're streaming it here in the Discord, people can get a tour of that without necessarily hopping in. Do you know where it is? No future.
Absolutely not. Is it? Is there a way
Okay.
to look at it on a map or
No, you
like
just follow me on this road. Let's take this road here to. We'll go to the castle. Make your way to the castle. You guys see me? And then
yeah?
as you're approaching the castle, hang a right before you go up the big ramp.
I love that my Gotchi's still doing the hands up dance
Yeah,
the whole way.
I was watching that, like
Yeah.
happy dancing.
And then it's straight on till morning. You'll see a bunch of archways and a big blue flag, and we're getting close to the art gallery then. Yeah, keep going straight. Yep. It's that building right in front of you. You can get that pickup if you want on the way. Grab the I think you got it. And a little bubble blower.
Yeah.
I'll get the wings. Oh, I got it. And yeah, just under this archway here. Let's see who's in the art gallery with us. Oh, there's Roxiano. She's on the call. We got
Roxy on
Wish
that.
Fish.
And then we press
Yeah.
F and we can read what just happened.
It'll,
Oh, it
it'll
takes me
take you right to
that is dope.
yeah. Yeah.
That is
Takes you
pretty
right
cool.
to it.
On FB. Let's go to
Yeah.
another.
See if that's like surprising you. That Dan, we got to do more to tell our story. Like we don't even
Yeah.
know some of the things we can do in here. So
This is what we were talking about
all
before. Like everything is kind of spread out so much. It'd almost be nicer to just have like a direct portal into the art gallery instead of having to like find
right.
it.
Like if all you want to do is the art, you could,
Yeah,
or you could bounce gate
just
to it.
spawn
And
you
I
right
just point to
here.
the art gallery, spawn
Yeah,
there. Yeah. Just make it easy.
that'd be helpful.
If I wasn't here to tour guide,
Yeah,
we probably wouldn't find. It's just D1's actually too big. It's actually we tried to do it exactly to scale of. Well, we did do it to scale of the original pixel by pixel map, and maybe in retrospect we're like, wow, this is huge. So dark farms in here. If you're watching the stream. Hey, Nadio.
Yeah, a little
A lot of good
chubby.
stuff.
baby
Pepernado.
stuff.
You gonna get T-birds in here? I see T-bird in the house. They got the sailboat by Thrax and T-bird. Oh, shit, we even put our man Sus the Grass. Been lagging. Lagging in here, bro. Oh, it's starting to fill up in here too. Got 9 of us in here right now. Not bad. I can share a couple updates while we're all hanging out. So see if I can actually do that. Dan, on our side, we've been pretty busy, right? With Gotchi Guardians more lately. Very,
oh yeah,
very heads down on Guardians. The big potential they were trying to work through and get it over the hump.
yeah. You guys met this team that we're working with. Honestly, I think they're probably like one of the most pro teams we've kind of ever worked with. They have just massive connections, especially with Nintendo. They came on a DAO call a couple months ago. They were doing a raise. They ended up closing that round for I think it was their seed round, and someone took the whole round. I don't know exactly what it ended up at, 10 or 20 million or something, but they have a really interesting model of basically acting as a publisher for different games, and they'll have a token that revenues from those games kind of funnel back into the token called Andromeda. So it's looking very positive for Gotchi Guardians and going with that team and getting us in a prime spot for a Nintendo Switch launch. Like we're very close, ironing out all the final details, but I think that could be a big catalyst for just getting a lot of new eyes on the game, on the Aavegotchi IP, bringing obviously revenue. The game won't be free, but it'll have a small price tag, and then obviously there's lots of in-game purchases that people can optional in-game purchases that people can do. That if we can get decent numbers, that will certainly generate some nice revenue to Pixelcraft and Aavegotchi DAO. So we're really, I think the game has a good chance if with the right marketing, the right just making sure that we tick all the boxes on everything. But yeah, it's been
Yeah.
very positive
It,
on Gotchi Guardian side. Just really making sure
yeah.
that we seize this opportunity.
Either way, it's like the possibility of that and working towards it and putting it in front of them and getting feedback. It's definitely been a good exercise in like stretch goals for the Gotchi Guardians team. Like they've dug deep on it. Blama flew out to GDC to meet with them. So did some of the other team. We flew out a lot of our team there to meet with them, a couple of them. And yeah, we'll know a lot more here in the near future. So just going to say we've had multiple calls every week with those guys and just trying to get it to be able to be done, basically. And those guys are stretched thin, to be fair. Like they're just completing a rather large raise, and they got about. I know we're not the only ones trying to get priority from them, so we're also competing on that front. But it's looking good. Pretty happy with that. And so the team's been working towards like some of their requests, and so we ended up finding a way to. This is a bit of alpha. We'll see. I'd rather Slama break it, but I think it's fair to say we are working towards a third map sooner than later.
Yeah,
Later,
he actually
sooner
dropped some
than
outside. Yeah,
did he? Okay, then we can talk about
yeah.
grade. I don't want to step on his toes, but yeah, it was like one of these things where the original third map was really ambitious on the same level as Mount Oomph. We still want to do that, but because we want a third map for the launch, yeah, you see right here, a little something we're calling Rickety River right now. Making its way in to be the third level. And I think for everybody that enjoys playing Prong Meadow, this is more like a sequel to Prong Meadow than it is a sequel to Mount Oomph. So I think it's pretty cool in that sense. And yeah, it's really cool because we've been able to ramp up resources for this with some of the hours from the Realm team on Gotchiverse being moved over to help the Guardians work. So really cool to see the collaborative effort internally and something tangible to show for it in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, this was like how many weeks?
It's like a week.
I think it was like 1 week.
It like
They
came out of a
really
call.
were able to. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Slama was
Watching
like
this come together.
inspired, and then yeah, some of the 3D guys, and it's come together really quick.
Adds a
As
new
opposed to
palette, green and blue, to the whole game,
yeah,
which is really nice.
right, kind of our happy water world. So yeah, I think it's really going to be nice to have that variety. The way it kind of plays out in theory is it's a bit more like a tug of war because you got two bridges with an island in the middle, and you can do some just like breaking the bridge in Prong Meadow. You can do some stuff on each side of the bridges to really uh you know throw your opponents off. So almost like a tug of war in that sense. It could be a really cool mechanic, quite unique to that map.
TK2's question here: details about the gameplay and token circulating system of GG. Uh, well, the gameplay is live. Gameplay has been live for months now. If you haven't played Gotcha Guardians, I would really suggest you play it. We just a couple of weeks ago added support for gotchis themselves, so you can play as your own gotchi. And we're also, I think it's in one of the upcoming this month's build potentially. You'll be able to earn extra XP for your Gotchi Guardian when you play as a real Gotchi. So that's kind of a perk for owning a Gotchi. The whole idea behind Gotchi Guardians was that it's not a pay to win game. You it's everyone gamers generally hate pay to win stuff. So we've tried to avoid making it overtly pay to win by like being able to buy everything uh, and other people not being able to own those things. But it's more pay to progress. So the best way to progress is you can play the game, or you can also spend Ghost or USDC or fiat, credit card, to buy G bucks, and those G bucks can then be spent on things like XP, or we've dropped handful of like uh, limited edition skins in Gotchi Guardians that you can also equip on your Guardian, and those will soon be tradable in marketplace once we go on base.
Yeah, good
I
overview
think
there.
it's kind of a sleeping giant. Like Slama has been having these calls with the Andromeda team, and honestly, I think they are really impressed with Slama as we are as well. Like the dude is a legend, puts in the work, has a strong vision for what he wants to do with the game, and I think it's going to be popular within the general gaming community, assuming that there's always the chance that they discover that Aavegotchi is an NFT project and all of Reddit goes and blows us up. But actually, that might be a good thing. Maybe that's any attention is good, right? So maybe it's if people do start playing the game and they enjoy it and they discover, oh, this is like funded by this NFT project, it could blow up and become a PR mess. But that any sort of attention is probably good at this point. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, Augie, you've been playing Gotcha Guardians, and yeah, we are doing these Tuesday events. I told Goobs we should start if we have enough demand. We should do more of these game nights, and we're currently giving away G bucks, which are not like a tradable currency, because again, like when we're trying to get beyond the very very small niche that is like crypto gaming and actually reach real gamers. Um, a lot of this like tokenizing things and being able to trade money and stuff like these platforms just do not want to deal with any of that. So G bucks are not a tradable currency. It's a one way. You can spin Ghost, and you can get G bucks. And we are going to be we're almost done implementing a whole leaderboard and MMR system for the game. So tournaments, I think, are very doable in the near future for Gotchi Guardians. And if you want to do better in the tournament, you're probably going to want a higher level Guardian. So in that sense, you can kind of pay to progress, and you can get your Guardian a higher level, and you will have a slight advantage over another player that has a lower level Guardian. And yeah, you can also earn badges by playing Gotchi Guardians. And I wouldn't say it made up a huge portion of the Gotchi points campaign. I haven't run the numbers yet, but I would say it's like probably less than 5% of all the Gotchi points that were distributed were coming from gaming. I did see a lot of people saying like we were giving out a bunch of free money to people that have never bought any Aavegotchi assets and only play the games. Honestly, I think it was way lower than maybe people are thinking of. It was like a very small percentage, but there was a way to earn Gotchi points by playing Gotchi Guardians and doing the Gotchi wheel. K2, I think the thing to understand with Gotchi Guardians is that we're not really going after the crypto audience with this game. The TAM, the total total available market for crypto gaming is just so small compared, and like there's hasn't really been like a great game that's actually revenue generating in our space yet. So the strategy with Gotchi Guardians has kind of always been, let's actually make a game that we can generate revenue as a company and a DAO with, and we can give give that portion of that revenue back to Aavegotchi DAO. That's the whole strategy with Gotchi Guardians. That's why we went out
And if
and
it's,
found this publisher that has like huge connections with Nintendo and is like has a good chance of getting us listed on the platform, possibly even on the front page. Like we might be on the front page of Nintendo when we launch if we play our cards right. Which
And distribution in different markets, localization, different languages, not just crypto Twitter. And so it kind of insulates the game from whether it's a bear market or a bull market. And crypto, good games are played anytime.
Yeah, I saw there was a game. There was this tweet a couple weeks ago. Raven's Quest, I think it was, and they're doing like 100 million ARR in Korea or something, and like no one has ever talked about that game. I forget if it was Raven Quest or some other game, but it was like no one on crypto Twitter knew about this game. It wasn't a crypto game in like the sense of all the crypto KOLs and stuff were shilling it. It was just it was a game with built on crypto rails, just as Gotchi Guardians is, doing serious amounts of revenue. Actually, like doing what we as an industry need more of is just games going out there, making money, and generating value back to their Web3 community.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I saw some people mention Gotchi points. That was the big thing that happened this week, and we opened up the channel for the Gotchi Points season 2. I have been kind of on parental leave a lot of the week. It's kind of been a blur, honestly. This last week, I feel like we literally just had this hangout. The last week was a blur for me, so I'm trying to keep up with all the comments and everything, and just all the feedback coming in. But yeah, we can definitely spend a little time here on the hangout. And anyone if you're listening on the call, feel free to like raise attention to any main points that you want to make, because Jesse and I are here. We're present every week, always open to hearing feedback. Sometimes I know we try to read all the messages in Discord every day, but it's also really helpful if you have if someone has a strong opinion on things, to directly voice it here in the hangout while you have our attention.
Yeah, well said. And I won't bite. Apologies for last week. If any of you were here, and a lot of you were, but that was more, I don't know. Let's just say me and that gentleman, it was more personal than anything. It wasn't really about the critique itself. We're very happy with a lot of the critiques that come through. End up Dan and I and the team, we bring them to the team, we discuss them, and we're constantly trying to optimize for success, or we wouldn't be here. So just a couple of examples, like there was feedback about Guardians in the item store being a little bit light. And so one thing the team's been working on there, they're calling it seasonal collections. And a lot of work has gotten done on that in this recent sprint. And what it basically is like a reason to come in and do a daily login, because there's going to be a new page, a new tab in Gotcha Guardians where there's an item that's for sale basically for, I guess, roughly 24 hours. And then it's gone. Maybe it'll come back up in the rotation. It's kind of a random raffle, but it behooves you to check in every day and just see what's available that day. So it could be, they call it seasonal collection. I would just call it like the daily, it's like the daily item or something. So sometimes it'll be something super rare. Sometimes it'll be something pretty common, but it'll rotate through all these different skins and upgrades and all the different items that are available. And some of them will be exclusive to only be available through that rotation.
It reminds me of like the Fortnite model where they just come out with new stuff, every week, and people just log in because they want to get that stuff. This is kind of the same loop. Like if you wanna get the skins or the various items, we call them vanities. then log in and open your app. You might get lucky and score the chance to mint something.
Yeah. Another cool update that the team has been working on, especially the DApp guys and the 3D team, everybody, kind of a team effort to get 3D wearables moved into the DApp. This is something we wanted to have
Right.
ready for the migration to base. And I think we really could pull the trigger anytime. We got to do a couple last checks, make sure basically every single wearable works.
I got a little
and I think they
video
will.
here.
Oh,
I can
yeah,
share.
give a
I can
preview.
share the video. It's like the feature is done, but we wanted to give make sure that we had a like a toggle. So if you don't want to, you view the 3D wearables all the time, you prefer the 2D ones. We wanted to just make sure that that was also there for the 2D maxis. Let me just drop this video though. I think they look pretty sick though. Honestly.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I
It's
love how it has
coming
this.
through.
Yeah, you guys are going to see there's like a toggle. So you can enjoy your wearables and you're searching for new wearables with 2D or 3D on the DApp.
Coming. It's very slow. 12.9 megabytes, and it's going to take a minute. So sad. Let's see. I see no futures coming about Gotchi points. Try to up the number of Gotchi points explicitly allocated to gamers. Yeah, I think it's like we want to make sure, especially for season 1, that despite what all the takes I've seen of people saying that we were giving out a bunch of free money to gamers, actually it was mainly people that were either farming Alchemica or had market bought Alchemica. There was not a lot of allocation to gamers, and I think that in like future seasons we should look at what kind of like I think if we're getting new gamers actually like participating in the game, spending money, helping us meet KPIs that we're trying to achieve in terms of revenue, I would totally not mind like adding more Gotchi points. We do need to create more badges. That's something that we need to do for Gotchi Guardians, just because I know a lot of you guys have like maxed out some of the
Maxed
badges,
out.
which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the video just showed up on my
There it
screen.
is.
Quick pause for the play this.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that 3D in the DApp. And you got the toggle, so if you want,
They got
you
the
check
hover.
out the items, the hover. Oh, let me play it here.
Yep.
What do you guys think? I love the slow rotation.
Yeah, I think it's cool
It's
to
kind
have
of fun.
both.
I've seen it go back to 2D.
The next step is going to be getting the gotchis done. So we get the wearables, and then the next step is we're working on an API that anyone will be able to hit. You'll be able to put in the token ID of your gotchi, and it will return you the GLB file of your gotchi, which is like the 3D model, and it'll also return a static image that you could use as like a thumbnail. So if you didn't want to load in the whole gotchi, or have that available to the player immediately, then you could just show the static image first. That'll be really helpful for the DApp, but also anyone like Gotchi Battler Immaterial has been asking about an API that can do that. So that's it's already in our sprint. The team is working on that as we speak.
Yeah, that's so cool. Big upgrade. There's just so much to talk about as we move over to base. Like so many things we're doing that you can't see on other platforms. We're all going to have to get a little extra loud here in the weeks ahead, myself included. There's just like so many cool little stories to tell. But back to what the video making its way through kind of interrupted. You were on a roll, Dan, and I think I see a couple comments in here I would add are like what Hardcore's issue points out about the DAO vote for the 400K came in like literally last minute, which
Yeah.
made for entertainment in the Discord, but it does create a lot of uncertainty for the season, especially when the season's near end. The one that's probably like, I'm reading and following there's a thread for this, right? Dan, you created a thread for retrospective of season one, look ahead to what we could do different in season two, what you liked, what you didn't like. And the question of adoption comes up a couple times, and I totally agree with that. I think the biggest reason for the 400K basically went to everybody here. It went to the OGs and everybody that's already in Gotchi game. It would be, in my opinion, better if it did lead to adoption. I think that's what most people would agree with. Maybe for those that do agree, I think the reason it didn't is because it did get snaggled with the whole Geist not panning out and the migration to base not being complete. So that decision was made based off a lot of feedback here to just finish it up on Geist and then start fresh with base. So I look at it, yeah, it had issues. I see it as a generally positive pilot program. Burned a lot of Alchemica, distributed Ghost to land parcel owners, and if you farmed and held your Alchemica, and to people playing the games. And it was a pilot program. We could do it better with the full audience of base, I think. I think we've learned a lot, and there's a lot of potential to do some sort of points campaign with a much wider audience and not this issue of bridge to Geist and then do this and do that. Like just the UX, the friction of it can come down drastically once we're on base.
Yeah, but despite all that friction, this Discord was actually growing. It's one of the first times I've really seen it grow in like the last year. We were consistently adding at least a couple new people every day, which considering like the uh, the churn rate growing is actually like usually it's just kind of static or not going up, not going down. But we actually during the campaign we're adding new people, uh, joining the Discord, checking things out. And yeah, the friction of having to go on the Geist and get Ghost and do all that stuff was like overwhelming. But I think generally having a campaign going like that where there's opportunities to earn by getting involved is pretty positive. But yeah, we're here. We're despite people saying that it's like Pixelcraft never listens to anything. Like we're here literally every week. So really, and I am trying to read all the messages that come through. But like, yeah, what do you guys? What did you guys like about the campaign, if anything? And what did you hate about it? Where would you like to improve upon it? That's where I think a good place to start.
I could speak from my own perspective, and I kind of already have. I it worked towards getting gamers to play because I was able to. You saw like in real time, I was able to get one third nerd to start playing. As I talked about it more, I didn't talk about it a lot, but like on my shows, uh, people being able to actually play a game and then earn towards something, even if it's
Hmm.
not a huge percentage. I think in season two, maybe considering some kind of allocation towards like content from this because you are doing it where you're getting the clips, the weekly clips, but I think that can go a lot further because there's a lot of people out there farming content, specifically like Kaido type stuff. And yeah, I know people here kind of have opinions against that kind of marketing, but it works. So being able to like advocate for 5 or 10% of like marketed points towards the gaming side because it does encourage people to game because they're taking a chance, they're speculating on what they might be able to do in this ecosystem, and then incentivizing people to make content to kind of spread that out there more aggressively. I think net it could be a benefit because right now, if it's 95% of the activity is just us, we're failing.
Yeah.
Like the we should be reaching out more. So that's my main thing. I completely understand why people don't want to advocate for giving money to outsiders because they feel like this is, and rightfully so, like this is from our auctions and whatnot. But I don't know. I want to see the ecosystem grow, and that does work. I'm not talking giving the lion's share of the points, but definitely encouraging people to come in and try because whenever they do, they get excited. One Third Nerd started with questions about the DAO. He started playing the game. Now he's playing the game a lot more. Now he's considering being more active in the DAO and then launching a DAO for something else. Like he's it encourages people to get in and to have skin in the game from the outside without having to really jump in with anything at the beginning. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just 5% sounded surprising to me, but if you were to put out like a like a post saying like a pie wheel saying this is what this is, the percentage breakdowns, I think degens you can then with the content side of it get people to speculate and try to jump in.
Yeah, yeah, it's not much to disagree with there from my point of view. I guess it comes down to I think it's worth acknowledging there is probably at least two very different like starting points for people in the community, and that's okay. Because I do see comments that are like, I think I saw one feedback that said which season two should focus like entirely on original holders and nothing to do with badges or play, and just focus on collectors and collect people that have already collected. I was like, well, that sounds like rarity farming, but that's fine. But there do seem to be two camps. So it's like, do we go for adoption and new players, or do we acknowledge we don't want new players or new investors or new whatever you want to call it, and just exclusively focus on you know making sure the treasury or however you want to phrase it goes towards what some of the older holders want. So it's a fine line. Like you want to make everybody happy, but you also we have a budget that's in, especially the gaming budget. I thought was set up in for adoption. So as we move to base, we have an opportunity to make it rain and get some eyeballs and get players that have to come in and play. But the alternative to that is to just not like weight it towards players. So something to hash out as a DAO.
Yeah, I'd say also reading Crispy Carl's comment above about the distribution of rewards. We obviously have to make that tail longer, I guess, or not the number of rewards, but just not consolidate so much of the prizes to the top two spots because there was like gaming of it to a degree. I know
Yeah.
because people contacted me asking me to be part of their farms or whatever, and I declined. But there was like strategy, which there's nothing wrong with that. This is game theory. We're all trying to win, but spreading it out more so that it's not because then people from the outside are just going to see it's worse than rarity farming almost.
Yeah, the last minute collusion, I mean, uh, wasn't like totally unexpected, but in hindsight, maybe we could have made the multipliers a little bit closer to each other instead of like 10x, 8x, 6x. A little bit, definitely some things to explore there. Or I mean, uh, I don't know if you guys remember, but we were talking about adding in kind of the tapering of multipliers over the season, and in the discussion leading up to the sig prop, it was kind of decided by everyone like, no, let's not change anything for this season. Let's just keep it as it already is and not introduce the tapering multipliers, which I think probably maybe that was a mistake. Maybe we should have introduced them because it definitely would have helped. At least it would have made collusion at the very last minute like more expensive.
Yeah,
Like Pickle
yeah.
says, let me
That
trade my points, please. So can you talk? What do you think that allowing trading of points is gonna do? Because I think I mean that's an interesting idea, but is it really a point if it's? I mean, it's like the idea of the points is that they're kind of not tradable usually.
I kind of like the idea of tradable points though, because then I know it's like we talk about moving away from financializing, but we did start with tokenize everything. So
We are on
Tokenized
base.
coins open up a tradable market where you can the revenue you can earn a fee off the trading. It's kind of like Kaido, right? A third party created a vote, like a way that I can sell my votes. I haven't done it yet, but apparently people make hundreds of dollars a week on their votes, selling them to projects that want to be on the Kaido leaderboard and they have a voting chance. So with the points, it's kind of like, it'd be, I mean, it just adds another wrinkle of complexity because now it's like we have Essence, we have Alchemica, we have Glitter, we
No.
have Ghost, we're burning, or like when then there's going to be burn point campaigns and DAO discussions and all this other stuff. But I think selling it could be interesting. I just don't know how hard that is or if that's a legal issue for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's just like what you just described is we did look around and reach out to people that were part of the blast campaign and other things and that were successful or had their moments, and it just felt like the idea of tokenizing the points themselves would kind of undermine the whole,
There's
just make the
platforms that
Alchemica the
do
points.
that. There's like platforms that do. There's like the whale. What do they call it? The whale platform, where you can trade almost futures of points. Yeah, whales market. But I wasn't. That's not something that the point projects themselves do. It's kind of like an OTC for trading points.
Right, like selling your account. I see a question directed to speakers. Where would the liquidity come from for your points? Yeah,
Phantasma, do away
I think
with multipliers and instead every burn transaction would spin a wheel to see what multiplier it gets. Yeah, I think the wheel, my what I saw to be people's most favorite part of the campaign was actually just the wheel, we were thinking of maybe getting rid of it for season 2, but it does seem to be the one of the most popular things, except for the zero option. A lot of people don't like that, so we'll probably get rid of that option, the bankruptcy option,
and the spin all, like they're just had too
and
many
the spin all,
spins.
yeah. But one thing I want to see while we're just chatting about it, do you guys like the idea of the season and having like this final conclusion of the season very exciting, and all that? Or I mean, what about there's also like another way to do this, which is that the Gotchi point, and I think Kackman alluded to this idea. This is another angle that we had also considered. Like the Gotchi point is actually more of a loyalty point that you could spin kind of when you wanted to. And let's just say, not really, but let's just say you could spend 1,000 Gotchi points and you could spin a wheel, and the wheel might have something like there would be different options. There might be some ghosts, there might be some alchemica, there might be an item in Gotchi
NFTs.
Guardians, NFTs, whatever, various different items that you could potentially win throughout the season. And maybe at the end of the season, there's like a bigger prize pool, but there's things that you can earn throughout the season by spinning the wheel. I think that could also be like one way to do this.
It would incentivize people to like not wait till the very last minute to do all the last minute burns, right? Because I agree, like I feel like the last 24 hours were the most exciting. Maybe that was
Yeah.
a lot of collusion happening I wasn't aware of, but you could see on the activity, right? Like there were burns and bridges happening all the time. In that last day, it was really fun to see the activity on chain. It's like, how could you spread that out throughout the season, or better, make it more of a daily thing and incentivize that instead? So there was
I was
ideas to
saying,
do that. Like, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
no, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, just there was like the bar with the ghost wind down, or the points available, but I don't think it actually hit zero by the last day, so it didn't like really add any pressure. But in theory, if the demand was more upfront, then you know you want to get in before that meter got to zero. That's just another mechanic.
Yeah, I posted in It would be cool if you guys like, because you want to like drum up excitement, especially near the end of the season. If you tie the weekly spaces that Goobs is doing, or the game nights, and then make that a tournament, a regular tournament for Gotchi points. Like if you win, depending on your placement in that tournament, you get Gotchi points, and then
Mhm.
have because you have a pre-allocation towards gaming if you decide this in advance, and then on the last like day have a big tournament where you can drum up a lot of like open a space, have streams, people are trying to play because they're grinding to get like 100,000, 200,000 points for winning a single game. I think you can get a lot of people that would want to play or participate, but you would need a leaderboard that extends out for a ton of players.
Yeah. Well, we want a ton of players, right? So that's interesting.
Yeah, because then the allocation. Like even if you say right now, hey, 5% of those points will go towards gaming for Gotchi Point
We did
Season
that
2.
though. We actually did that this season, and there were a lot of unused points. Perhaps it was the badges weren't like calibrated properly, or I think it's more likely we just didn't get enough players
We thought there'd be
coming
more
on the dice.
players.
There's
Yeah,
67 million points available that didn't get used up for gaming.
pretty crazy.
So yeah, you know, do
It
a,
was actually
a tournament where you give away
30%
like
of the support of the supply. Yeah, I think we could have been probably more active with raising some awareness about these points, and maybe we'll roll them into season 2. Probably not, but it could be an interesting idea. But I mean, ask Phantasma here, so I make sure I'm understanding. So there would be, you're saying like every time you burn, there's a variable multiplier, and it would multiply the like the number of points that you would earn by that multiplier every time. So if you burned one alchemica, you get let's say you get the top multiplier 100x, and you'd get like 100 gotchi points. But if you burned a 100 alchemica and you got the normal multiplier 1x, you'd also get 100 gotchi points. Is that pretty much what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I mean,
It certainly it makes every load, every roll matter. There'll be somewhere you spend a lot and it doesn't give you what you want. I don't know. There can be like a lot of
and no
grief
zero
associated with
option,
that.
right? No times zero multiplier, I assume. Otherwise, people will flip their shit.
Yeah. People would want to space it out, right? I wonder what the strategy would be. Because I would worry about the person who just like puts all their, I don't know, puts everything into one spin. And then it's like it's worse than a zero if you get a 1x on that. It would be worse than a zero.
It will kind of even out. I mean, but I did see people like variability can be a bitch. So there were people that had I forget who it was, said they'd spun 600 plus times and they didn't get a single 50k. So
that's me.
the
I spun like
likelihood
400 or 500
was it.
times and I didn't get a 50k.
No, yeah,
I think I got
Nestor,
one
yeah.
or two thousands.
There were a couple of a couple people like did not have luck on that wheel for some reason. It's it was, I think it was tuned like it was a 0.5% chance, I think, of getting a 50k. So it should happen every 200 spins, but variability can be a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
just the
that's
alchemy is so farly outweighted to the spins because I remember I had 80,000 points from doing 500 spins, and then I burnt like maybe
Yeah.
$30. I don't know the exact amount of alchemica, but it was like stuff that my gotchi had just had inside of it from like channeling on and off for like the last few months, and that gave me like a million points or something like that. Not
Yeah,
that much, maybe.
I think we probably should have kind of recalibrated the gotchi points on the wheel maybe halfway through. I mean, the season, by the time it got voted on and passed, the season like there was like 1 week left. So uh for season 2, I hope that we'll make the proposal early enough and get everything in order before like starting it. I think this time, like, we want to make sure there's a long enough season where really that we can have some action. We can have multipliers tapering. We can have potentially, we can look at the how many points are being allocated to gamers and calibrate that up or down. Probably up more. based on and trying to attract more people to actually play the games, spend Ghost within the games, and just like we don't want to end up with another season having so many points left over that weren't really used. All right, the GIF has been dropped, friends. Thanks for that little brainstorm, and yeah, just keep the comments going in Gotchi Points Season 2. Definitely trying to catch up on everything there and make sure that we're reading all the feedback.